Hello there, my name is Anthony Barocas with AIBA Communications, and today we're going to do an unboxing and a quick look at the Soonwell 2x2 Softlight. Okay, so what we're doing here is I am doing a live switch of my opening of this package and checking out the contents and putting it together and see how it works. And so I've got three cameras here. I've got an overhead, I've got the camera I started with, and I've got this camera I can talk to you. And so, hey, let's dig in. So the cool thing I liked right off the bat with this is that this thing comes in this nice carry case. It even comes with this even really long strap, which thankfully comes off. And let's unzip this bag. Inside, it's not a light kit. It's not a light kit. This is the light. So this is very light. This is amazingly light. This, however, is not. This is the power supply. Oh my God. The power supply is bigger than the light. This is the power supply for the power supply. This is the AC supply for the power supply if you don't use batteries. I have a battery here. We'll try it with that. We got a mount. We have an itty bitty little antenna. Over here we have some velcro straps. I guess we'll get to that in a minute. Up here in the top pocket, let's take all this out. It's all in one package. As you can see, I haven't opened it yet, so I am feeling this out. There is hard panels. That might be a honeycomb grid, which would be nice. And this is a big soft panel. A soft panel for a big flat light. That would be rather interesting. So that is a rather interesting little tidbits. This is especially kind of cool. This is a Wi-Fi antenna because you can control these things remotely. The only thing I didn't see in the kit was a remote. So maybe that's with your phone? I don't know. We'll see. The power supply, I'm going to call it the power supply. The power supply for this thing is honkin'. Oh my God. And this is probably because, here's the antenna port right here. This is probably because Soonwell makes a wide range of these lights. The 2x2, actually I don't think this is 2x2, I think this might be a 1x2. Just because it's this wide and it's 1 foot. They make a range of these lights up to like a 2x4. Yes, 4 feet by 2 feet. That is a massive light. Wow, aircraft cable to hold it as opposed to just, I don't know, plastic. That's pretty cool. You've got a really hard to move dimmer. That is not instilling much confidence. I think I just stripped it. No, I didn't strip it. No, that turns. Okay, so for whatever reason that was stiff at first and now it's working fine. Maybe I think the buttons got banged in. Oh, look at that. They also click. So yeah, they definitely got banged in. They work much better now. You've got a DMX input output on DIN as opposed to XLR. You've got a 1 and 2 for battery and or DC input, and then you've got your V-lock right here. So if you have V-locks, which I do, you could just, you don't have to be tethered to AC. You could just jack it in like that, power this on battery, and look at that. We're powered up and running. Da, da, da. And then you can see if I rotate the dimmer, I'm sorry, the color temperature, it's 3000 to 5600K. And then if I rotate the other one, you can see the power go up and down. So that's going on. What's the other display? Channel 1, ID number 12. And these are touch as well. So you can, they're not clicky, they're just touchy. So don't brush against them with your body while it's hanging on the light. There's also a D-tap on here, probably just because it's built into the plate, but if you needed to pull off some extra DC, you could do that. So that is the power supply. We'll turn that off for now. Then we have the light. The light, I was really interested in this because I have behind me, right here actually, I have this big, basically it's a 1x1 LED panel, and it is big and heavy, and honestly it's annoying. And I don't like it because it's this monstrous thing to drag around. So this thing had lots of promise, you see, because it's so light. It's nothing, it's blah. It's, you know, I could wrap it around and just pushing it out. You could, you know, spread your light outward. You could spread your light inward and wrap something with light. Right now it's got a really good curl on it. It has both independent tungsten and daylight LEDs. So because I've got this plugged in here, I could literally just, yeah, do that. Plug it in, and it will automatically go on to the settings I had. Okay, it's daylight and it's incredibly bright. But, okay, let's do a little lighting here. I'm just going to set this here on my work table and I'm going to use the dials. And I'm going to turn it way down. Okay, 0 is a little too low. 1, this is 1. It's not really 1%, but it's pretty bright. And you can see, let's turn it back down to 1%. So here is 56K, 3000K, and you know what? I'm going to say when you first touch it, 30, it's 3000, 3050, 3100. I'm sure that's not 3100. It doesn't jump from 3000 to 3100 like that. You can see the blue LEDs kick right on, and yep. I am seeing, what I'm seeing in the LED is at least at the lowest brightness, which is probably why. I can't, there's on and on because I have it at the lowest brightness. So that's what I'm seeing here is like I'm seeing just tungsten, both of them, and then when I scroll to the very end, just daylight. So that's what I'm seeing. If I have it much brighter, yeah, there we go. Now I can see the ramping between the colors. Although, here, let us take, I can turn the white balance is on manual, and we'll put the exposure on auto. There we go. So now, as I crank this baby up, because it's still only at 25%. Okay, now I have got it at 100%. And you can see, here's daylight, and scrolling to tungsten, which now, because you've got it at a high power, you've got, you know, a much bigger ramp between the two colors here. So this is 100% at 4300K, 38, 34, 33, 32. So that is pretty nice. And you can see it is, I cannot look at it. It is so bright. But look at the quality of the light. I mean, it's not that far from me, but it's not, like if I move my hand in front of me, it's not creating a harsh shadow. And that's really what you want from a soft light. And I haven't diffused it or anything. I haven't even set it up. It's just sitting here on the table. So let me dim this down so I can see. We're going to dip it back down. 25%. And yeah, this is the 2x1, the FB 2x1. Actually, the power supply is labeled with the actual unit. So I wonder if there are bigger power supplies. It's the biggest thing here. Almost sort of defeats the purpose of having a big soft light. But let us continue. So I've got an AC power supply, which I am not going to use. It outputs 4-pin XLR power, which is very common in the broadcast industry. And it has a 2-pole AC plug, probably varies depending upon the market. And there's the frame, buried in the bottom. Okay, and the last thing I did not hold up was the frame. So if you want to mount this on a stand, you have to build it. And they give you this, let's see, one. Is it? No, it's not adjustable tightness. Okay. We go one. Spin this around. One advantage of a big hard light is you don't have to build it. You just put it on a stand. Oh, okay. I get that now. So there is a metal holder there, like that. Oops, I'm banging cameras around. So here you can see this is my 1x2 holder. And then we will turn off the light and let me swap cameras. Actually, I need that other piece, which is the stand adapter. So because the light actually comes out with a tip, as opposed to just something that could sit on a light stand, we have to have a female to female light stand adapter. So let us switch cameras back over here. So what I've got here is I'm going to say the small end goes on to the light. So you have to take out the nuts. This is actually metal. This is not plastic. I've dealt with enough plastic light stand adapters in my day. It's nice to see that this one is actually metal. And it's probably repurposed from something else because it actually has a hole, a through hole, and a pin for a reflector, which you don't need if you're dealing with a soft light. So, but it's metal. So let's stick with the positives. We're going to lock that down. We're going to tip this over to the side, and then we're going to put this on my stand. Alrighty. So now I have my X frame thing here. I'm going to take my FB-21, and it has little pockets here. It's got little hangy things. So if you just wanted to hang it somewhere, you could do that. The construction is actually very nice. The corners are reinforced, screwed into place. Actually, I believe it's probably even waterproof because it's got a really icky feel to it, like a coating kind of feel to it. But if I'm looking in the velcro on the end here, yeah, I'm going to say not waterproof because I could just look into there and I can get to see the electrics. All right, so we put one there. 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 And there. All right, so as you've seen, it takes a little bit of bending to get this thing in place. Let me undo this so I have a little bit more cable slack. The bending is there to create tension in the surface, this flexible surface, because generally you would want it flat. So you don't want to just hold it up in the middle and have it drape flat. So these, I'm checking on there. Yeah, these things on the back here are bent, so they're actually pulling it taut here in the middle. Now, technically, you could still, kind of pull this in the middle and get a little bit of curve, or push it and, put like a ball behind here or something and get a little bit of extra dispersion if you wanted it. But this is a light on a stand. And if I spin this around to me, so it doesn't shine into the camera, let me get a little more height. Not from that section. Let me get a little bit of height from the section below it. All right, so I cannot go lower than that because that is the extent. Yeah, that's about it. So you're not going to be tipping straight down with this stand adapter. Let's kick this back on. Battery. So here you can see, let me put this on auto. Boop, 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 exposure, auto. There we go. So now you can see I've got my one Softlight way over there, but this one is whiter. And obviously I can dial in the temperature cooler or warmer. And this is only at 25%. So I can slowly dial this up. That's a really bright light. 100%. And this is cool, 56K, and it's just easier with the knobs. It really just easier with the knobs. And that is 33,000K. So that is pretty nice. Now I haven't diffused it, so let's take a look at these other pieces in the kit. We have boop, boop, boop. Inside of the bag, there's a bag, and inside of that bag, there's a bag with staples, no less. So you get diffusion material, but it's Velcro, so you're not sticking it right to there. This, which I suspected might, oh, it's got a hole in the bag, which I suspected might be a grid, is indeed a grid. Now, what good does this flimsy thing do? The surface mount LEDs on a light like this, they're shining over there, they're shining over there, they're shining everywhere, which is great if you want a soft light. If you want, like, I want light to go very softly everywhere. It's perfect for that. But if you don't want it to go everywhere, a grid sits in front of the light and cuts down the light spilling all over the place. So if you just want the light on a person, but not on the backdrop, on the floor, and everywhere else, you just want to center it on here, but still have a big surface, that's what the grid's for. Then you've got this branded octagon. No, hexagon. Yes, I can count. Hexagon. I don't know why I have a hexagon. Oh, okay. So it looks like a hexagon, but it really is just doubly long in one direction, like that, if that makes any sense. Although it does look like it's kind of bent. It's not flat like that is. So this is interesting. This is why I don't read the manual. This is just much more fun. That and the fact that there's no manual. All right, and we've got this. 18. It's package number 18. Let's go over here. Oh, I gotta put this one on, hang on. We're overhead. Overhead is here, and auto. There we go. So 18 is a bunch of Velcro straps. And Velcro double-sided tape. Sticky tape. All right. At this point, a manual would be really handy. So they got the light. I got the box. The box has got Velcro on it. And I'm thinking this is supposed to wrap around the back. So, see that? That makes sense there. That it's reflective on the inside. It's got the Velcro so that you could do softbox softbox, softbox. It's like I'm not completely unfamiliar with the concept. I'm just not akin to the build your own light type of building here. So I got my softbox, and then if I want to do the grid, you do the grid. Maybe I did that wrong. Be nice if I had like colored tips to let you know exactly where the corners are. And then that goes there. And this goes here. And then somehow, like with most things I build, I ended up with extra pieces, extra grid. So yes, that's the quick and dirty version. There, softbox, right? See, so as you can see, as you go off axis, light is not heading in that direction, it's all blocked with black. And then as you go straight, most light passes through, and then it's blocked off axis again. Same with side to side as well. So that's what the softbox is supposed to do. And you've got diffusion in here. Now, the challenge comes in the fact that I don't know what these straps are for, because they're Velcro one side with holes. And they're sticking to the box. So I've got 4 of those, and I've got this long strap here, all of which right now I cannot think of where it's supposed to go. So we'll put it back in the bag so it doesn't keep sticking inside the case. We've got this nice strap with a V-lock on it. I guess so that you could mount the power supply to, you could V-lock it to something. But I also have this, so I don't really need that because I could just hang it from the stand. All right, and the antenna for the remote that we don't have. Just double check it one more time. And the Velcro straps, I'm guessing these are long. Yep, these are on the long side, and I would probably have to stick them to the back of the light. So let's take a look at that right now. I am going to turn the light off. Take it off the stand. Now that I'm looking at the back of the light, there's actually Velcro on the light. So this becomes even more confusing, because if I have this and I can just put the light in here and Velcro it, you can see they even have a cutout for the power supply. And you can see it's got the loop part of hook and loops. Here, here, here. I mean, it's not the easiest thing to build, but I was really dreading having to put sticky Velcro on the back of this light, but it's clearly already designed for this. Let's switch cameras back to here. It's clearly already designed for this, and you know, that's actually pretty slick. It gives you some distance from the light, so the light is already starting to, each LED is already starting to spread out, and then you've got the diffusion, and then you've got the softbox, which is like really nice because it blocks that dispersion from the side, straight on from the side. And we'll put this back on. It's not that heavy. This whole thing is twice the size of that one, and it's lighter. It's distinctly lighter. This part is lighter. There's still this part. So altogether, it's probably heavier. But let me show you one thing. I will be truthful and say that even with the other LED light, let me loosen this. even with the other LED light, let me walk off here for a second. It comes with a remote. So if I want to make it brighter, I can do that, or darker. But I have this thing, which hangs from the stand, and it's got a V-Lock battery, but I've got it on AC because it's here in the studio. So 6 on one, half dozen on the other. Now, let's go back to our Softlight from Soonwell. And ta-da! Put that over here. And now, let's go to 4,000. 4,000, it's the new white. You can see that when I move it off to the side, like here, I'm not seeing any white light hit me, and then here, the white light is hitting me, and then I move it off like that, and now it's not hitting me again. Now it's hitting the camera, but now it's hitting me. So that grid in front really does make a big difference. And having something that's not that heavy, but is pretty big up here on a stand. Is it out of frame? No, it's not, but it's a bigger light source than my other one, and I've got diffusion on my other one to try and make the diffusion of the light bigger. So this is not heavy on the stand, which is nice to have a big source. If anything, I'd even, instead of the 1x2, the 1x2 gives you the thinness but wide, but a 2x2 would be twice again this high. So where they have all these different models, they have one that's even a half foot tall. So whereas this one is, let me turn this down. Oh, this is still at 100%. So once you get it inside the diffusion and inside the grid, then that 100% is not as bright as it was. So let's turn this down a little bit. So this is 1x2, and they have a 2x2, which would be, again, twice as tall as this. So it's a big old source of light. And then, like I says, they actually have a 4x2. They also have like a half by a half, which would be like this big, and then by 1, a half by 2. So they have a whole range of sizes on their website, and I chose this one because I thought it was a nice compromise between the really small ones and the definitely larger ones. With a 2x4, you're probably not going to use that in landscape mode, although that would provide a wonderful wraparound, or you could fill, like if you're doing a table of people, that'd be great to just like wash the table with light. But what you would most likely use that for is if you were doing people standing, and then you could just do a vertical 2x4. And then that way you're lighting more of the whole body. The light isn't just this narrow swath coming out. It is this big, tall swath. And this is more like photography. Photography, what they would do is, you know, they'd have this tall light, or they have this octabox, which is like 8 feet tall, which is why this light that comes across people is just like this big, soft, you know, ocean of light. That's because it's coming from such a big source. And you really start to get that when you get a 2x4, which I didn't want to have to deal with. But this, I'm actually pretty impressed with. Now, like I says, when, you know, it's super bright, you pull off this grid, it's super bright because those LEDs are just hammering at you. But you put the softbox on the front of it and you put the grid on here. You know, the grid is not absorbing any of the light coming at me. Oh, my finger was, I'm like, why is it changing color? It's because my finger is touching the touch thing. The grid's not absorbing any light coming to me, but in terms of the light falling everywhere else, the grid does a great job of blocking that light and technically absorbing it. So like over here, there's very little light coming towards me. And I'm going to say I like this light. It's an assembly process. And that's something you have to get used to. I think pretty much with any soft panel is that they're all going to have a back brace. They're all going to have to, you know, rolled up or folded or something. And if you want to do a softbox out of them, you have to build that light. It's not going to be like a 1x1 panel where you throw it on a stand, throw open the doors, boom, you're done. It's not going to be like that. But they're both going to have this external power supply or big lumpy thing on the back, and they're both going to have the total weight package. And the advantage of a soft light like this is that if you have to hang it, if you want to put it on an arm or something like that, especially you want to fly it into the shot, the weight of the light is reduced versus a hard LED light, especially when you talk about larger sources. You try to do a hard LED light that's a 2x2, they're massively heavy, whereas this is actually very, very light in comparison. And even the 2x2 is not going to be much heavier than this because it's just going to be additional fabric and some additional LEDs. All the electronics and all the heavyweight is out here. And like I said, so you can just hang this on the stand and you're done. You know, right now that is a fully portable soft light. I can move it anywhere I want because the batteries on it, it'll run, I don't know how long it'll run on this particular battery. Depends on the brightness of the light, how much power you're pulling, size of the battery, etc. So I can't give you that. But all in all, I'm going to say my review is looks to be a very handy light, with the caveat with every similar type of light. If you go in the roll-up light direction, you have to assemble the light, and that takes additional time versus a traditional light. If you have any of these fluorescent ones with the softbox, you've got to build the light. If you've got some of the COB lights that are now in these like photographic type structures, and then you got to put the reflector on the front, you're going to have to build and assemble the light. So realistically, versus a panel light that comes in a bag like this, and you pull the panel out, you put it on the stand, and you throw open the doors, and you're done. The advantage with that is quick, you know, ready to shoot. The downside is it's this big, heavy light. The advantage with this is it's actually quite light. This light is quite light, and the quality of light is very nice, actually. I can see a little bit of pattern coming through the grid, but I think by the time the light hits I can see that, but it's not going to affect what you see on camera. This will be a test of the flickering of the Soonwell. I have LED lighting in the room, and at 60 shutter speed of 60th, you don't really notice it. But if I ramp up to, say, 200, now all of a sudden in the room, you can see considerable banding in the image. So as I change the shutter speed, you can see different flickering and banding in the room. This is 1/400th. So this is why you really can't use just any LED light. Let's go back to 1/60th of a second. Now I'm going to turn the Soonwell back on. Not that way, this way. So I have it set to 4500K, which is about in the middle. This is at, let me turn the other lights off so we're not confusing A with B. So the only thing I've got going on in the room now is the Soonwell. And we are at 60, 160, 250, 400. Still not seeing any banding. No. 800. This is 1/800th of a second. 1300. 1600, and again we're at 28%, so this is fairly low dimming. Obviously if you have it brighter, it's going to flicker less. So if I'm at 34,000th of a second here, and if I turn up, no, not the color, the brightness, you can see at 1/4000th of a second I don't see any flickering at 82%, but let me bring it down. We were at, let's go to 20%. Here's 20%. Still not seeing any flickering at 1/4000th of a second. I can increase the gain a little bit. It's gonna make it go purple. because generally you, you don't shoot at 1/4000th of a second with one light. 20%. 10%. So this should be a whole lot of off time, dwell time, so to speak. And I am not seeing any flickering at 1/4000th of a second with this light. If I go in the rest of the room's pitch dark, because, you know, really, I have this thing down to 10%. And, you know, I could test it all the way down. That's 5%. So I call this very stable, because I don't see any flickering at various frame rates. I am adjusting the shutter down to 125 now, 250, 320, 500, 800, 2000, 3200. So I'm going to call this a win for no flicker. That's for sure. With that, this has been my review of the Soonwell 2x1 flexible LED Softlight panel softbox kit. My name is Anthony Barocas with IEBA Communications. Thanks for watching.